Hi, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are dialing in from today. I am Carlos Skill, your MAPS group coach. Welcome to Social Media for Real Estate Agents. Thank you so much for signing up for today's broadcast. Today, I'm going to go ahead and give you a glimpse into our 4-week course that we offer through MAPS. I first want to go ahead and introduce myself to you. Once again, my name is Carlos Skill. I am an experienced marketing executive and social media strategist that has worked in B2B and B2C social media now for almost 10 years. I used to work for LinkedIn. I'm also an industry speaker. I've spoken several times now at Social Media Marketing World, South by Southwest. Recently, I won an award for Best Hispanic Snapchat Storyteller. So I do quite a bit in the social media space as a personality and influencer. My work's been featured in Mashable as well as Inc. magazine. And a little fun facts about me personally: I was born in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and both my mom and dad are real estate broker agents. So I've grown up around the real estate industry. It's something I'm really passionate about. I've helped my parents really in growing their business and really in leveraging social media over the last almost decade. Now, today's webinar, like I said before, is very much a preview of the 4-week Social Media for Real Estate Agents course that we offer through MAPS. You are going to get a lot of value for free, so whether you sign up for the course or not, today's webinar is going to help you immediately apply some new tactics into your business when it comes to social media. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the course before I get started with today's webinar, and just so you know, we will have time at the end for Q&A. So the course of Social Media for Real Estate Agents is going to be a comprehensive deep dive into the most active social networks out there. And I'm talking about Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, LinkedIn. There's also going to be content around live video, as well as emerging social networks and platforms such as augmented reality and virtual reality. Everything that this 4-week course is going to help you with is ultimately going to aid you in selling more homes. So I think we all get it. Social media is extremely important, regardless of where you sit within your office or within your business. You need to be using social media. Oftentimes, a lot of folks get hung up in how to use each one of these networks, because each one of these social networks speaks to a different audience. The way content flows on these social networks is all completely different. So I'm going to spend time with you in breaking down how to use each one of these. Also, we're going to spend time talking about personal branding techniques. And on today's webinar, you're going to learn quite a bit about personal branding. Like I said before, you're going to learn about the future of real estate marketing, specifically how virtual reality is disrupting the real estate industry, and then strategies to win clients. So each week, as we move forward, you will learn different strategies on how to win clients on all of these social networks. And that's specifically advanced tips and tricks for ad buying. So Facebook ads is something that's really of interest to real estate agents. So we have a whole module on Facebook ads. What tools to use for marketing across platforms. So one of the things I often hear from agents is they'd like to be more active on social media, but time is something that is a challenge for you. And there are tools out there that do make it easier for you. Leveraging emerging media for promoting listings. So how you can use platforms like Instagram and even Snapchat. And today you're going to learn a little bit about how to use Snapchat. And then finally, engagement strategies to drive referrals. Now, by the end of this course, you will have an advanced understanding of how social networks can be applied for marketing in real estate. Once again, the purpose of this course is to help you sell more homes. How you're going to get there is by driving more website visits and clicks from posts. Hopefully those website visits and clicks are turning into leads or appointments or referrals. The course is also going to help you to be known as a community resource and industry thought leader, so that's the personal branding piece. You're going to know how to identify and engage prospective home buyers, as well as develop a winning social media strategy for your business to help you sell more homes in 2017 and beyond. So jumping right into it. The evolution of real estate sales and marketing. For those of you that have been in the business now for, let's say, 1 to 2 decades, you know firsthand that social media and digital media has disrupted how you go about promoting and marketing your business. Historically, you would have open house listings in the classified section of the Sunday paper. Those listings now and those classifieds have moved over to Zillow and Realtor.com and even your own website for Keller Williams. So the way that buyers and renters or even investors or those that are looking to sell their homes, the way that they go about getting their information has greatly changed. It's no longer about picking up the Sunday paper or weekend paper. It's now about accessing information directly on a mobile device or on a computer virtually anywhere. So it's really important that we address the obvious, because knowing that there's been this monumental shift in how your clients get their information, how they find inventory, really then puts the ball in your court in terms of how you get information around that inventory to them, and more importantly, how you reach them. Now, 2016 National Association of Realtor Profiled Buyers and Sellers survey revealed that where buyers are going to find the home that they purchase primarily is the internet. So 51% of respondents said that they found the home that they purchased on the internet. And that's a very broad statement. That's not just social media, but that's a variety of web, mobile, it can be online advertising. Case in point, more than half of respondents are using the internet today to find the home that they purchased. Now, there's a significant drop-off here from my perspective, because when I think about how the real estate industry has evolved, historically, if you wanted to find a home, you'd go directly to an agent. You'd walk into their office, or you'd go ahead and ask for a referral from someone that you know. So for me, it's alarming that only 34% of respondents said that they found the home that they purchased through a real estate agent. That's not to say that they didn't work through an agent throughout the process, because most likely they did, but the first touch point was not an agent for the majority of respondents of this survey. And then you see a big drop off here. From 34%, you go down to 8 and 8 for yard signs and open houses. And it's funny, because I recently did this exercise. I actually drove through a couple neighborhoods close to where I live, and I hardly saw any I hardly saw any open house or any for sale yard signs. And that's not to say that there's not open houses or houses for sale in my neighborhood or adjacent neighborhoods, but that just means that the majority of those homes that are for sale or even for rent now are being advertised online. Because let's face it, most people are not driving around neighborhoods looking for open houses or houses for sale. Instead, they're going online to find what's for sale, or they're going through an agent that they know. Then you see a big drop off from 8 down to 2% for home builders and agents, then 1 and 1% for directly from sellers or print. So there should be no surprise that there's a big drop off from 51% to 1% when it comes to online media to print media. Now, a lot of what I want to help all of you figure out is, how do we get you from relative, friend, or neighbor, which I classify as a referral or directly from sellers. So how do we get you from referrals being a very low percentile all the way on up to somewhere between 34 and 51% of your business? The majority of your business, if you're using social media to build a personal brand, and if you're using social media to put content out there, the majority of your business should come from referrals. And if you do this consistently over time, then your referral business should keep you so busy that you're not having to refer to print or to online ads. Now, a big reason why the industry has been disrupted, let's face it, is the demographic of who's predominantly buying homes today, and these are your millennial home buyers. As of 2015, millennials made up 35% of home purchases. Now, this is the largest demographic of home buyers out there, and this is a 2-year-old survey from NAR, from their Home Buyer and Seller Generational Trends Report. In 2017, I would have to imagine that that's probably well over 40, if not closer to 50%. Because when you really think about it, you look at the landscape of home buyers today, you have baby boomers, which are my parents, that are now at a retirement age. They're not actively looking to buy or sell a house anymore. They're content with the home that they're in. You've got Gen X, which is a little bit more stable, and then you have your millennials. And in full disclosure, I'm a millennial myself. Most millennials nowadays are in the position where they've graduated college, they have good jobs, they're getting married, they're having children, and they're outgrowing the space that they're in, so they have no choice but to go ahead and buy a house. So that's really good news for all of you if this is a demographic that you're looking to go ahead and penetrate and do business with. Something that's really good to know is that the median age of first-time home buyers is 30. And I say this to put it into context because this is the sweet spot for who's predominantly using social media today. And that's not to say if you're someone out there whose sweet spot is Gen X or baby boomer. I know from doing this course now several times, there's a lot of Keller Williams agents out there who are predominantly selling to the 55 and older community. Trust me, the 55 and older community is on social media. They're just most likely not on Snapchat, or they're most likely not going to be on Twitter. Most likely they're using Facebook. And that's, once again, why it's really important to know how these social networks work, because each one of them has an appeal to a different demographic. Now let's stay on this talking about millennials for a moment. The average income from this report of a millennial in the United States is $77,000 annually, and the average home price is $187,000. What's really important to note about this data is that with things like Facebook ads nowadays, you can run targeted ads based on income. You can run targeted ads based on interest as well. So you can literally put ads in front of 30 to 35-year-olds who are looking for a home, just recently got married, just recently had a child. You can also target not only based on interest, but based on household income as well. Nearly all buyers in this survey indicated that they use the internet and a real estate agent in the home process. So let's think about it. Myself as a millennial, if I'm window shopping, I'm going to go window shopping for a home on Zillow, most likely, or on Realtor.com. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and contact the listing agent that's associated with that listing. So it's almost impossible. I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's nearly impossible for someone who's not in the business to just go through this entire process without an agent. You need a real estate agent. So it's really important that not only you have your inventory listed out there on the internet, but you also have a presence on social media or on the internet, or preferably both, because when someone, let's say for example, I live in San Francisco, when someone goes onto social media and looks for San Francisco real estate agent, if you have a presence on Facebook, or if you have a presence on social media, chances are they're going to come across your profile, provided that you're actively posting content and you have a presence. Now, 87% millennials and Gen X in this survey also indicate that they use an agent to help them find a home. So once again, what happens is you go down this rabbit hole of, you go on Zillow or you go on Realtor.com, and you find a house that you like, you contact an agent, chances are that house might not be on the market anymore, it might be under contract. Once you go see it in person, you really don't like the home, but you've already made contact with the agent. Now, the real estate industry and social media, there's no secret about it. They go hand in hand. Most agents today are using social media to some extent. The 2013-2014 Realtor Technology Survey, which now is a almost 4-year-old survey, at that point indicated that Facebook and LinkedIn were the most used social networks. In fact, 91% of surveyed agents said that they use social media to some extent. So it's virtually impossible to ignore that your counterparts in the industry are using social media. Sites such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram allow for cross-promotion of your listings on Zillow and Realtor.com. So if you're using these sites to go ahead and post your inventory, which hopefully you are, as well as you have your inventory obviously listed on your own website with Keller Williams, what's really neat is that you can share your content directly from these sites onto Facebook, onto Twitter, even onto LinkedIn. With Instagram, it becomes a little bit more challenging because you can't necessarily link your content to your inventory. However, Instagram recently rolled out what's known as the swipe up feature that you might have seen for those of you that are on Instagram, in which when you're using Instagram stories, you can tell a story around your open house or around your listing, and then you can drop a link to that listing directly into your story. So if someone is interested, they can go ahead and at that point they can swipe up and they can go see your listing. You can also drop a link to a listing or a link to your website in your profile on Instagram. So if someone wants to see more in the comments or in the copy of your Instagram post, you can say, click on the link in my bio to go to my website. Now, Snapchat also recently rolled out what's known as the swipe up feature, where you can link a website to a snap. So what's really neat about this is if you're doing a home tour on Snapchat of one of your houses, or if you're at an open house and you're doing a tour on Snapchat, you can go ahead and you can drop in a link. That way people can go ahead and they can swipe from Snapchat over to your website to learn more about the house. Now, according to Mention, 77% of brand conversations on social media today are people looking for advice, information, or help, which dovetails into this next stat from Bright Local, which is 88% of people trust online reviews by other consumers as much as they trust recommendations from personal contacts. So what does this all mean? It all means that the majority of people today are going on social media to ask for help and ask for advice. So what's really good for all of you as practitioners in the real estate industry is that if you're doing a really awesome job with the customers that you have in front of you, ask them to go on your Facebook and leave a review. Ask them to go ahead and leave a testimonial on your website that you can then create content around and share that content to then hopefully drive some referrals. Because most people trust other people more so than they trust a brand. So with that being said, if I as a consumer go on Facebook and I'm looking to potentially buy a house in San Francisco or in Austin, Texas, and I say, hey, I'm looking for a real estate agent in San Francisco to help me buy a house, chances are the first person that responds to that post and says, hey, contact this agent that I worked with a year ago, or contact this agent that helped me sell my house, chances are I'm going to be more prone to contact that agent than just going on Google and randomly Googling and finding an agent. Now, as you look to build out your social media strategy, the first step is identifying who are you trying to reach. Are you trying to reach buyers? Are you trying to reach sellers, renters, or investors? Are you trying to reach all of them? Chances are you're either a listing agent or you are a buyer's agent, and there's a very specific consumer, there's a very specific client that you're trying to reach. Instead of all four of these, there's maybe one or two. And I put this in the context because the way that you use social media is going to vary based on the type of person that you're trying to reach. Second is, what platforms is your target demographic on? Snapchat tends to skew much younger than Facebook. Facebook's demographic has started to become a little bit older, and that's fine. But being that Snapchat skews a little bit younger, if you're trying to reach a millennial audience, you have to be on Snapchat. Also, how are you going to reach them? Are you going to have a presence on Facebook and put primarily promoted posts or ads? What's really neat about Facebook nowadays is you really don't have to have a presence on Facebook and create content. You can just use Facebook as an advertising platform, and that's completely okay. Or are you going to post organic content on Facebook or organic content on Twitter? And then as you talk about content, what are you going to put in front of them? Is it going to be videos showing tours of homes? Is it going to be photos? Is it going to be blog posts with information helping them in their home buying or home selling process? Is it local news? Is it home buying tips? So you should really do an inventory of the type of content that you're going to post. So once again, let me break this down. You have videos, and videos can be tours of homes. The videos can be live videos, or it can be video that you record on an iPhone and you post afterward. It can be photos of homes. Those photos you can post across Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. It can be blog posts that you write about an area, or it can be about home buying or home selling tips. It can be local news that you share. I tell you, I often will find really good articles on Inman, even KellerWilliams.com, Forbes, real estate section, Inc. real estate section, Fortune. There's always articles around emerging communities, top cities for millennials, for example. Like, that's all content that you can share on your social media that you don't necessarily have to create. So do an inventory of content that you are either going to create or content that you have right now, because that content's ultimately going to be what hooks people to want to go ahead and engage with you and continue to follow you on social media, and ultimately decide if they want to click out and go to your website. The next decision that you need to make here rather quickly, if you haven't done this already, is what social media channels to use. Over the next 3 to 6 months, ask yourself where you can devote at least 1 hour per day to engage and post. If you cannot devote at least 1 hour per day to a social network, then you shouldn't be on it. And I say this because social media nowadays is not just where you go post and pray and see what happens. It's where you should really be actively having a presence to engage with other people, whether these are people that follow you or people that you want to do business with. You should spend at least an hour per day there engaging and also posting content. Part of that process is also creating content, not just posting and engaging. More importantly, where is your target demographic engaged the most? There's a lot of stats and data out there on the internet today in terms of demographics. I can tell you the majority of users on Snapchat range between the age of 18 and 34 years old. Demographics on Twitter and Facebook, those vary. Twitter has, along with LinkedIn, little bit older of a business and professional audience. Facebook is starting to skew a little bit older amongst Gen X and baby boomers. Besides what demographics and platforms, or what demographics your audience is on, what platforms you should be engaging on, you should also have goals. You shouldn't go on social media and just post content for the sake of posting content to see what happens. You should really push yourself to have goals. Goals I often recommend for agents is at least try to get 2 new referrals per week or per month as a result of engaging consistently. So if you can, try to make it a goal to get 2 referrals per week. If you find that to be too much of a stretch goal, then make it 2 referrals per month. Or heck, start off with a goal of 2 referrals per month, and once you get 2 referrals per month, then up it to 2 referrals per week. So if you're doing this consistently, like I said before, you're going to be so inundated and swamped with business that you're not going to have to go ahead and rely on other tactics. You're going to be able to start creating social media as a referral engine for you. Now, a lot of what you do is going to be building a personal brand. So before you go out and you put loads of content, you should really focus on building out this personal brand and consistently hone in on your personal brand, refine your personal brand. And the reason why personal branding matters is because people do business with who they feel comfortable doing business with. This isn't just in the real estate industry. This isn't just a social media thing. This is since the beginning of time. People historically do business with who they feel comfortable doing business with. And where social media really helps amplify this theory, this hypothesis, is if you are posting a mix of business and personal content, and that personal content that you post is what you do on the weekends, what you do after hours. You're into sports, you're into yoga, you're into different restaurants in the area. Over time, people are going to see this and they're going to say, wow, this person's a normal human being. They're not just a real estate agent, but they live a normal life. They have a family. They do fun things that appeal and relate to me. So once again, that's where you can start building that comfortability with people. Now, some effective personal branding tips. First of all, the professional headshot is a must. Make sure that you have a consistent look and feel across your social media channels where you have a professional headshot that puts you in the best light. Also, fill out your bio on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, as well as even on LinkedIn. On Snapchat, you don't have a bio, but on these other social networks you do. And make sure that your bio is optimized to have certain keywords, such as real estate agent, as well as the city where you do business. Also, having a polished LinkedIn profile with a clean headshot and your headline, as well as a summary filled out. So what I mean by having a polished LinkedIn profile is have a nice headshot of yourself. Make sure that you have your summary section filled out. Make sure that you have a headline filled out. Post at least 1 to 2 times per day per channel to stay relevant and top of mind. And trust me, guys, I know that this is a bear. I know that you're out busy in the field and you have clients and you can't always get to your social media accounts to post content, but you really need to push yourself because social media operates in real time. Most people are not going back to see what their friends posted a day or a week ago. Oftentimes, people are seeing what their friends posted within the last couple of hours. Also, make sure that you're leveraging Twitter to have community conversations unrelated to real estate but centric to your city or town. So really think of where you want to take your personal brand is to be viewed as a community ambassador. And what I mean by that is as you're out in your community, post photos, post videos related to your community. If there's grand openings, if there's different businesses opening up, if you're actively involved in the Chamber of Commerce, make sure you're posting content unrelated to your business specifically, but more so related to your city. And then really leverage Instagram to engage in community-specific hashtags. So once again, if you're going to a restaurant in your city or town, take photos of what you ate, take photos of that restaurant. Heck, take a photo of the owner and say, hey, meet Dominic. He's the owner of Dominic's Pizza. Use different hashtags like hashtag San Francisco, hashtag Bay Area, or hashtag whatever the city that you are in. Make sure that you're getting your content into those local community feeds. Now, here's some examples of how Snapchat can be used to work for you. Snapchat's really starting to take off in the real estate industry, and in fact, Inman recently published the top real estate agents to watch on Snapchat. So if you have a chance, make sure you click on the link here within this webinar or go to Inman's website and look at the top real estate agents to watch on Snapchat report. And you see some different examples here in front of you. You see snap listings on the left-hand side. They're showing snaps of a home that's being renovated and getting ready to be listed for sale. You see here on the middle, Tudor style houses. You see here that they're using Snapchat as a medium to do a home tour. You see here top Florida realtor, offer submitted, wish me luck. And then you see here the real estate CIO using Snapchat as a way to talk to prospective clients out there about home buying tips and really what you need to know about getting funding secured for your new home purchase. As you see here with all these examples, it's not the most polished content. It's not professionally produced content, but it's real, it's natural, and this is what people call storytelling. Snapchat, its appeal for real estate professionals is the fact that you are the star of your own reality show, and with your iPhone or your Android, you can go to a listing, you can be out in your community, and you can create content that really tells a story of what you do. As you see on all these examples, there's a chat button where if you want to chat with an agent, all you have to do is swipe up and you can have a conversation with that agent. If you do this consistently over time, I guarantee you people in your community are really going to start to feel a special connection with you because they're going to see that you're real, they're going to see that you're actively out in the community, and also you're accessible. Now, as we look to go ahead and wrap up, some best practices that you can apply as soon as possible. First of all, around promoting your open houses. Make sure that you're running Facebook ads and that these Facebook ads that you're running are targeted by demographic and persona, such as age and income. Also, be sure that you're using relevant hashtags on Twitter and on Instagram. So once again, whatever city it is that you do business in, if it's San Francisco, if it's Austin, if it's Houston, make sure that you're using hashtags relevant to that city. Make sure that you're also using hashtags like hashtag new house, hashtag real estate, hashtag Keller Williams. All these hashtags are going to ultimately help get your content indexed into various feeds. Also, schedule a Facebook Live or a Periscope as a virtual tour. Years ago, if you wanted to do a virtual tour, you'd have to outsource it to a company that would come in with a drone, or they'd go ahead and have fancy equipment. Well, guess what? iPhones nowadays shoot high definition, pretty good quality video content that you can just pull out your iPhone, you can go on Facebook Live, and you can do a quick tour of that house. The name of the game, though, is cross-channel promotion. And what I mean by cross-channel promotion is to go ahead and leverage these channels in unison with each other. So if you do a Facebook Live, go over on Twitter and say, hey, go to my Facebook page. I'm getting ready to do a new home tour of a listing in San Francisco. Or take photos of that listing, put it on Instagram, and then drop a link in your bio on Instagram and say, go over to Facebook to go ahead and see a tour of this home. Now, some different questions that you should be asking on social media to win clients over are you in the market for a new home, or do you know someone that is? That's the easiest way. That's what I like to call the low-hanging fruit. It's the easiest way for you to go ahead and get referrals, is to ask your community if they have a referral for you, or are they themselves in the market for a home. Another question to ask is, what's important for you in your next home purchase? This is a way to get people to start talking. What you really want to do is you want to start creating some conversation around your content. And then last, can I make a suggestion or recommendation on where to? This happened with me 3 years ago as I was looking to move to the Bay Area of San Francisco from St. Louis. I'd never been to San Francisco before. I didn't know where the good schools for my kids were. I didn't know where the trendy, hip restaurants in town were. So I went on Twitter and I said, I'm getting ready to move to San Francisco. If anyone has any recommendations on good neighborhoods for families, good restaurants, hip, trendy areas, let me know. And what happened? I had a real estate agent named Matt Quanstrom that engaged with me on Twitter, and I ended up renting my house through Matt. So it's as easy as using Twitter as a tool to listen, to see what people are asking, and then swooping in with a recommendation. A tool that I recommend using is Canva. Canva is a tool that you can create free images. You can size images based on different social networks. You see some different examples here. In the 4-week course, I'm going to go ahead and have a module showing you how to go ahead and use Canva. But this is an example of how you can use Canva just to create some content for free around your listings, or if you want to create congratulatory messages to new clients that you've recently closed a home with, you can do that as well. Now, there's some next steps that you can immediately apply. First of all, I have a Facebook group set up exclusively for Keller Williams agents. You can go ahead and join this group by going to bit.ly/KW4Maps. KW is capitalized, the number 4, and then M in Maps is capitalized, and then you see how it's spelled there in front of you. Go ahead and join the group as soon as possible. We use that group as a mastermind for you to ask me questions, but for you to also engage with other agents for you to share best practices with. So be sure to join that group here today at the conclusion of this webinar. Also, be sure to update your LinkedIn profile with the basics. So professional headshot, a cover photo, a summary, a headline, and also invite me to connect. Next, pick one of these social networks, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat. Pick one of these social networks and make that your home base for all things social media. And what I mean by home base is this is where you're spending at least 1 hour a day to create, post content, and also engage. And then connect with me. You can find me on all these social networks as Carlos Gill. And if you have any further questions, you can go ahead and email me. My email there is in front of you. It's carlos@carlosgill.biz. Now, for joining today's webinar, I have a very special offer for you. So the next Social Media for Real Estate Agents course begins on Thursday, August 3rd at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We meet every single Thursday for 4 consecutive weeks at the same time. If you can't make the live presentation, it is recorded. So it will be a 1-hour webinar plus 30 minutes of Q&A. So we meet for about 90 minutes, depending on how many questions you have. So once again, 1-hour webinar, 30 minutes of Q&A. We meet for 4 weeks straight, beginning on Thursday, August 3rd. Every one of the presentations is going to be recorded and available for playback at your convenience. The retail price of the 4-week course is $297. However, if you sign up today, we have an exclusive offer. You can save $100 off the course by going to the link that you see there in front of you. It's mapscoaching.kw.com/social-media-real-estate-agents. Go to that link, enter in the promo code, just save 100. You'll save $100 off. And once again, that's exclusive for those of you that joined today and are watching the webinar. And if you sign up today, you can save $100. So with that, I want to thank you for your time, and I want to turn it back over to Nicole at Keller Williams for any questions that you might have.
All right, so looks like one here for us. We have one that says, when you put this out on Snapchat, who's seeing it? So who sees those Snapchat posts?
Can you repeat that question, Nicole?
Yeah, the one we have is when you put this out on Snapchat, who's seeing it? So who sees those Snapchat posts?
Yeah, so with Snapchat, you can have your content available for anyone to see. You do have to go ahead and focus on growing your Snapchat presence. So Snapchat is not as necessarily intuitive or easy as Twitter, where if you just put out content, anyone's going to see it. Typically, anyone that follows you will have access to see it. So in the course, there is a module on how to use Snapchat, how to grow your Snapchat presence. I recommend that if you're not on Snapchat, or if you already are but you're looking to grow, start sharing out your Snapchat URL on your other social networks. If you have an email list, include your Snap code in your email list or a link for people to add you. That way you can start growing your Snapchat presence and you can start getting your content out there to be seen.
Perfect, thank you. We have another question. Is simply boosting a post on Facebook Business effective?
Boosting your content can be effective. However, if you are not using targeting criteria, if you're not running targeted ads, it's not going to be as effective. So oftentimes what will happen is agents will go ahead and boost their content and they're disappointed because they didn't see any clicks or comments. And boosting essentially just drives the impressions or reach of your post. It's very important that when you're boosting content that you have a call to action. What action do you want people to take? Is it to click a link? Is it to contact you? Make sure within the post copy you have a very strong call to action. That way, while you're driving more impressions and more reach to your post, you're at least asking people to take an action.
Great. And then is age and income the only 2 demographics you can target?
You can target based on company that they work for, based on pages that they like. You can target based on buying activity, different interests. So once again, there's a module on Facebook ads that I cover, and it's pretty comprehensive, and it covers everything that you need to know about how to set up audiences and how to run Facebook ads.
Great. So let's see if we get any other questions in. It looks like that's all we have right now. And And then they're asking which session specifically is that module?
It is session number 3.
Session 3. All right, that looks like all our questions. So any closing words for us?
Yeah, I just want to say in closing, once again, thanks for joining today. Definitely be sure to sign up for the course. It's going to make a big difference in your business and how you go about using social media. And there's no silver bullet to social media success besides being consistent on the platforms like anything else that you do in business. You have to be consistent, you have to create content, and more importantly, you have to build your brand and engage if you want to see any results.
All right. Thank you, Carlos.
Excellent. Have a great day.